What is happening, Nintendo fans? I have another exciting interview. Today I have Seth Fulkerson. For those who don't know, he is the creator of a game called Arzette, which was a spiritual successor to the Zelda CD-i games. How's it going, Seth?
Doing very well. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing great, thank you. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit for those who don't know out there?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I'm Seth Fulkerson. I am a game developer, independent developer behind Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore. I lead up CDI Software. It's my indie game company. My day job is I'm the development director at Limited Run Games. I work on the Carbon engine. I lead the team. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, that's me.
Appreciate that. Well, let's see. For my first question, can you tell us a little about Arzette, as far as what it's about?
Yeah, sure. Arzette is a spiritual successor to a pair of infamous fantasy adventure games from the early 90s.
Please, go on.
To put it simply anyway. But in addition to that, it's also a love letter to that era of early 90s CD ROM gaming. It's a 2D throwback action-adventure game with a big emphasis on exploration.
You know, an adventurer has got to explore all curiosity.
Sort of like similar to games like Monster World, Shantae, stuff like that. It has a unique art style, I guess you could say, with 100% hand-painted backgrounds, fully animated cutscenes done in a, again, sort of unique, beloved style, based on the games that inspired Arzette. And yeah, it's available now on all modern platforms.
I just wanted to go back to something you said because you obviously mentioned that it's a spiritual successor in a way to the Zelda CD-i games.
And for people familiar with my channel, I interviewed Jeff Raff, and he mentioned that you brought back the original artist, if I'm not mistaken, correct, from those games? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, I brought back Rob Dunleavy. He was the both the sort of sketch artist on Link: The Faces of Evil and Zelda Wand of Gamelon, but he did the full like sort of painting illustration on Faces of Evil. Another artist did the actual paintings for Wand of Gamelon, but he did the actual like layouts and drawings for all of them. And yeah, he's amazing. He understood what the games are. He had a lot of humor about them.
What behooves you to... Cease this laughter! You will suffer! Nay, you... Enough! Rein it in!
He had a good working experience, and well, I don't really want to speak for him, but as far as I know, he had a good time working on on Arzette with me. It's sort of like taking another look at that era of games sort of through a modern lens.
And for my next question, while we're at it, what inspired you to make Arzette a spiritual successor of the Zelda CD-i games?
Sure, yeah. So, I mean, I've always been a fan of like lesser loved games considered bad. I personally, I find those to be the most interesting games. Like, don't get me wrong, I love all the games that most other people love, like your Super Metroids, your Link to the Past, all that stuff. But I have a real soft spot for the stuff that is not considered that good. Because as a game developer myself, no one really sets out to make a bad game, right? Like that's no one really goes in with that mindset. So investigating why something like sort of turned out not exactly the way that the developers intended, especially with a high-profile IP like Zelda, that was always like an interest of mine. And sort of digging deeper into it, sort of exploring those games, I felt they had like a lot of real potential. Like, I feel like even now, I still feel like if circumstances were different, if they were given enough money, enough time, a competent platform more than anything, I think we would be thinking about these games a lot differently. Like if the animation was not the way that it was. I mean, I love them the way that they are. Don't get me wrong, but
Same here.
I'm a big fan.
I think if to me, like doing a what if love letter to those games and sort of early 90s, CD-ROM, early mid 90s CD-ROM, MS-DOS, like sort of gaming era as a whole, it's a really attractive idea to me. And I'm very fortunate that I have a lot of friends and professionals who have the same weird interests as me. So it was just sort of a perfect storm of getting the right people together to make it happen.
And I absolutely love that you brought a lot of the original cast to help you make this game. The next question is a little longer, and I'm looking at my phone here, so I apologize if I'm looking off screen. So, as I previously mentioned, I interviewed Jeff Rath, the voice actor of Link, for those who don't know, and he mentioned you got a lot of the original talent from Zelda CD-i games to work on Arzette. Would you say that added a sort of extra layer, legitimizing Arzette as a spiritual successor to the Zelda CD-i games?
So yeah, that kind of like ties into my last point as well. Like, I would hope that my intent, which is and was, to honor those games.
I value my honor.
To make a loving tribute, not to really mock them, not to punch down, be cruel. I felt like it would be far more clear by getting that talent involved. And like I said, I really wanted both the what if, selfishly for me, to see like if I had a lot of these people in a different circumstances, would things turn out better? They did. But also like just making sure that it's clear, like, yeah, I do like love these games, like even for as like flawed and all the things that are like objectively like bad about them. Like I feel like it's important that by getting the original staff on board, my intent is sort of known. Plus, like I said, you kind of get closer to the idea of seeing like the gameplay idea to its full potential by giving the people involved another shot, basically.
Sure. And you mentioned that you wanted to honor those games, and I must admit, when I reached out to Jeff, I was worried maybe he didn't know what to expect. He was a YouTuber, a content creator who wants to ask about this game, and Jeff, in that interview, definitely said that they're rather infamous. They're remembered in an infamous manner. And I worry because, like, for instance, I've reached out to a couple of the voice actors, and obviously their privacy, I respect their privacy, but I can definitely sense crickets chirping, probably because they're not as comfortable perhaps talking about it. And I don't blame them. There's no ill feelings here, but I would hope that, they'd probably see, this interview and Jeff, that I more want to hear their story, because I love that era of video games. I grew up in I'm sure you did too, the console wars, as we like to call them. It was a very fascinating era for video games. Well,
yeah, I think, so I think Jeff especially, like, I think they know very much like what the reception is at this point. When Arzette first came out, there was in March there was a PAX East gaming convention, which a lot of them attended. All the returning staff attended, which I told people was probably a once-in-a-lifetime thing to get them all together to sign the games and everything. So not just sign Arzette, but if people had copies of those old Zelda games, I was like, this is probably the time. It's going to be probably difficult to organize this again. But they saw the fans, which there was a lot. Jeff was on a panel even very briefly. So was Rob, like about the games and their legacy. So like I think at this point it's a lot of the people involved know, but I hope at this point, especially with the success of Arzette, I really hope that it's obvious that it's not all negative. It's not all like hate. That there's a lot of love, and there's a lot of people out there who appreciate the work they did, even if it's not. It's not what a lot of us wanted, especially at the time. It's there's still value to it.
Sure, and I mean, if you think about it, I mean, there has to be a stepping stone for something. For me, I consider those types of games, well, they kind of refined cinematics and video games, if you will. It was a stepping stone for that. Kind of like, really, the first Legend of Zelda game was a stepping stone for adventure games, I mean, if you were to hand a small child, the OG Legend of Zelda, they would probably be lost and not know what to do, given the advancements in technologies of like games nowadays, and dare I say, a lot of the hand holding that a lot of modern games have,
Sure.
And so my last question for you, sir, are there any future projects you have down the road that we should look forward to?
Yes, very much so.
So,
But I cannot talk about anything at the moment.
What could it be?
no worries.
Of course. But I am always working on cool stuff. Yeah, stay tuned. Make sure to follow me on social media for all updates. But I stay busy. I'm always working on something cool, and I hope to be able to announce some things that I'm working on soon.
Well, I'll definitely be looking forward to that. Well, I guess this is all the time we have, Seth. I really appreciate it. And any message for the fans before we close this call?
To all the fans of Arzette, I sincerely appreciate you. I see you. I thank you. You have changed my life, so can never be grateful enough for all the fans of Zelda CD-i and that era of CD ROM gaming. There are dozens of us, and I will do what I can to keep the flame going. But yeah, just thanks so much for having me again. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you.
Seth, you have yourself a good evening.
You as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.